Okay. Hey, 1 plus t and 2101. All right. Before we start, do you guys have any questions? What we discussed so far? Yesterday we talk about the index function. Any question there? Have you guys practiced? No questions?
So,
Yep.
can we have some like complex example like list under list type?
Yeah.
You
I
can
was
share
about to
us.
do it today. I was able to take
Okay.
a session on that one. I can give you one task so that it can clear your concept of index function. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, before talking more about the index function, let me give you one more example of a few more example of the functions, the Appian functions that we use more. Right, let me share my screen. Second, you guys can see it.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so we talk about the index function. We talk about two uniform string, two integer, and we also have seen where contains. Now let me give you some more example that we use more. Now I am going to create some expression rule to work with some variables. Let's say for each example. All right. So in Appian, we have many loop functions. One of the loop functions that is used more is called for each. Just like the way in Java we have for, while, do, right? In Appian we have a for each loop. So for each loop function is not only to iterate the data, it can also iterate the objects. It can also iterate anything in Appian. Whatever you pass in it, it can iterate that number of times. If you want to create, let's say, 10 text fields, and then you can just write one code and then iterate that text field multiple times, it will do it for you. All right. So we'll see an example of for each. So as usual, we create a local variable function, and then I'm gonna have local num array. Okay, and I'm gonna have some values here. Let's say 5, comma 7, comma 9, comma 4, comma 1. Okay, some random numbers I've given. So this way we can define a variable as a number integer array, right? If I try to return this, right? So I'm gonna get some output, the same thing. The whatever I have in my array defined will get it here, right? Now, what if I want to iterate the items that we have in the list, right? In that case, we need a function called for each. So for each function required two parameters. The first parameter requires is the items based on what you wanted to iterate the things. So where my array is? My array is local bank num array. Right. So we have seen yesterday local variables. Now let me show you something called function variables. The function variables are the variables which is inbuilt for a particular function. Okay. Now if you go to the second parameter called expression, in the for each function, items represent the element you wanted to iterate, or maybe the number of items you wanted to iterate. And expression represent what you want to do based on those particular elements. And it also allows you to access the function variables of this for each function. So for each function has multiple function variables, which you can denote by fvbang. When you type the fvbang function variable bang, you will be able to see all those listed function variables that Appian gives you for this for each function. Right now, what it means, identifier, it means that each element of the identifier. Let's say you are iterating a particular database record. In that case, whatever the primary key will be there, that will become as an identifier. Index represent the each index of element. Now let's see, if I put fb index, if I execute, can anyone guess what could be the output?
Maybe indexes of the array.
Right, so what could be the output?
1, 2, 3,
One, two,
4.
three.
1 2 3 4 5, right? Because we
Yeah.
have 5 elements, so it's giving 1 2 3 4 5, right? If you would have some more number here and then try to do it, then you will get 6 as well. So it's giving you the index of each element, right? 5 is at first index, 7 is 7, second index, 9 is the third index. That's why. Now, what's the third thing? It says is first. So what it will happen? Only for the first element, it will return true. For all the other elements, it will return false. So that you can know that particular value is your first element. Let's say if you wanted to work something on the first element, you can get this. You can check with this. Then we have last, just opposite. All the first element will be false, the last one will be the true. So if you face certain scenario, you can work on this one. And then we have something called item. What do you guys think item could be?
It wants the value I think.
Right. Each element of this list. So here it says items. So what are the items we are passing? For each items, what are the items? Right. So what happened in the behind the scene? If I go and click on the test tool, I'll get the same element. But the difference is that it's basically iterating behind the scene, in the code. How do I know that? If I do +1 here, or maybe, what do you guys think? What could be the output?
It will
6, 8,
increment
10.
1.
Right. So what it will do, it will add 1 to each element. It means that this AB item is iterating 6 times and doing the addition +1 for each element. Okay, right, got it. And then finally we have count. Basic item count is gonna give you the count of it. So all number of times it will run is 6, and for each one it will return the count of it, count of your array. Okay, right. Mostly that we work is called FB item. That just give me the each element of the item, and then whatever you wanted to perform in this one, you can have it. Okay, all right. Now, not sure if everyone is with the laptop or not. Can anyone try, or maybe ideally you should all try. Give me an output. Let's say I want a table of 5, maybe, right? So before that, let me give you one more hint. Now let's say there is a function called enumerate. What enumerate gives you? If I pass any number to it, then it will give you the list of it. So it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It has 5 items. Now, if I want to get it from the 1, I just do +1. If I do like that, then the output will be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, by using this for each, write a code to give me an output of multiplication table of 5. Who can do that? You got the requirement? I need a multiplication table of any number. If I pass 7, I should get 7. If I pass 8, I should get 8. So who is going to do that? Everyone should do that. Try. Yes, no? Am I audible?
Yeah, we are trying.
Okay. Anybody wants to share your screen? So the requirement is that if I pass any number to the group, I should be getting the multiplication table of that. Done? Anyone done?
I've just written a small code, not sure it is correct. Not able to write the expression.
Okay.
Like items would be enumerated like up to 10. You can add that.
Where your for each is getting close. Is it complete code you have given?
No, no, this is trying to figure.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about others? Rashi, are you trying? Vaishnavi? I know Rahul, you can do that, but others? Don't use ChatGPT though, okay? I'm not putting ideas in your mind, but yeah, please don't try the ChatGPT. Anyone, please do share your screen, guys. Let's try, no? Let me see what is your approach, how you're thinking. Why don't you share your screen, Rashi?
I'm not getting how to do it.
Okay, let's share, no? Let's see. That's fine. That's not a big deal.
Okay.
It's very easy. Don't put much pressure on your head. Just think about it.
I
See,
just
I gave you enumerate, right? What enumerate gives you?
it's giving values. I mean, if we add something, it will give that
Okay,
adding.
right. So what do you guys think? What you should pass in your for each items?
We should multiply it.
Mhm. So enumerate. What would be the output of enumerate 7 that you are trying to do, right? Enumerate 7. What would be the output of enumerate 7? Think in that way. Now you are putting it outside the local variables. You're missing the comma. Not there. Yeah. Local array that and local declare that you have done, right? You are missing the colon to initialize the value. And to define an array, we need a curly braces, not the parenthesis, small braces. These are the small things, right? No, not there.
Array.
Local num array. Yeah, Saksham?
Yeah, like I was saying in the array, like where you define num array 1, 2, 3, that should be curly bracket.
Right. Nope,
No,
nope.
not this. I mean,
Okay. In your code, there are one, two, three, at least three problems, Rashid.
What is?
There are three problems in your code. Two line of code, three problems. Wow, great. That's fine. Not an issue. Okay, so first of all, you need to understand how do you declare a variable, right? Remember, whenever I declare a variable, what we used to do to assign a value. Okay, who can point out the first issue? Vaishnavi?
It should be presented as key value. So
Right.
It,
Yeah, go ahead, Vaishnavi.
it should have a colon local variable, local bank num like variable name, colon.
Mm-hmm.
It should have, I mean, value should be assigned to that
Right,
variable name.
right. Did you get that, Rashi? It should have a colon. Where it should have the colon?
Enumerate.
No, after the variable name, local num array, you should have a colon. Right. Now, to declare and a list, what braces is required? Small parenthesis or big parenthesis? Clicking on paste tool is not going to help you, Rashi.
So
Okay,
we should
anyone?
remove.
Right. Anyone else has done this? Vaishnavi, you got it?
No.
Okay. All right. So Rashi, first of
Should
all,
be
you
placed
need
in
to remove the
curly
curly
braces.
braces from line number 2 and line number 5. It is not a right place to put it. Right. Right. Now, to declare an array and initialize the value, right? You need a curly braces there, not the small parentheses. Right now, you are using small parentheses. Right. Now you have local num array provided, but fine. Now you see that, and you are not using num array anywhere, right? But let's still you have declared, that's fine. Now if you click on test tool, okay, fine. All right. Vaishnavi, would you like to share your screen and show me what you have done so far?
Actually, I'm using office laptop, so I
Okay.
can't share my screen.
Okay. Can you put the code?
Um, yeah, even I am stuck. I
Okay.
didn't complete it myself.
All right. All right. Rahul, can you share your screen and show us how to do that?
Uh, yes, Ravi. I will share.
Sure.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, I can see it, but I can see the LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh, uh, can you see my screen like Chrome page?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your output? Okay,
Uh,
don't worry about the rule input RI, guys. I will explain later now. But yeah.
yeah.
But this is wrong, right? Well,
If I pass any number, I will get the table of that number.
but table doesn't start from 0.
Yeah. Plus one I will write here. Enumerate of
Okay.
10 plus one.
Okay. Do it.
I'm not getting that test rule button here. Like,
I can see that test rule.
yeah, the this zoom thing is, yeah, I can see. Now,
But is this correct? This is a table of 2.
no,
I
no, no,
didn't I didn't learn this in class
no.
1. Right. This is one of the interview questions, guys. A small organization, but yeah, this was one of the interview question. So if you take this much of time, they can catch you within a minute that you are not an experienced people,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Very easy though. How about you, Saksham? Would you like to share your screen?
Sorry, Ravi. I I have not yet like created my uh application. I'll
Okay,
do that. Yeah,
no worries.
I
Fine.
was on Notepad only.
Okay. All right, then let me share my screen and quickly show you guys how easy it is actually. Okay. All right. So the requirement is that I need a multiplication table of a number that I gave. First thing, how you guys need to think about it, right? For any problem, how many number of times you need to iterate?
10.
10
10
times.
times.
Right. Very good. So in items, what I should be giving? Enumerate
Minimum 10.
10, right? If I can do plus 1. So if I go and return this thing in the expression FB item, what I will get?
1 to 10.
1 to 10, right? Now what you need? I want a table of 5. Let's put 5. Easy?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, I thought we need to print like 5 into 1 equal to
No,
5.
that is also fine, but at least you should give me this result, na? If you want to print like 5 into 5, that
Yeah.
is also fine. Let's say I'm gonna go 5. I'll put this as a text. 5 into, ampersand be item, right, is equal to, oh sorry, yeah, 5 into 1, then ampersand space equal to ampersand be bank item into 5, something, yeah, that's fine now. Okay. Right? So once you do step by step, right, if you start thinking of the whole solution at together, it will be very difficult. First, you try to get your output, isn't it? If what is easy, is what any deep logic here. So you guys were thinking for the number that you want to iterate, but you need to first think that how many times you need to iterate. If you would have done that in that way, then you would have solved this very easily, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Good. All right. So you need to change the thinking process. Okay. So now you know the use of index. Now you know the use of where contains two integer, two uniform string maybe, and then for each as well, right now. Okay. I am going to give a new example, and this you guys need to do it by yourself. Take your time and then do it. Maybe if you want, take as a task, but don't use ChatGPT or maybe any other online tools to solve this. Um, okay, let's say I have a local variable called local bank array one, and it's going to be have multiple array of array. I will have let's say name Raj. Let's say I will start with ID. ID. Let's say 6, name Raj, and department as CS. I will have a few more lists of this one. Let's say I have 5 items. I will change this ID to 3, maybe 5, maybe 4, but 4, come on, 4, and then maybe 1. Okay, and then I'll change the name Mohan, Shohan, Sunil. Let's go with Anil. It has CS department. Why it is showing me some error? It says expecting comma. Where did I miss the
In
comma?
sixth row, you remove.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thank you. Department, let's say I'm gonna CS, maybe what do I say? HR, um, account, IT, DBA. This is my first array. Okay. Same way, I'm going to declare my second array, array 2. I will have ID, let's say 2 here, 1, 5, 4, let's say 6. Did I miss anyone? Let's say I have one more as a 3. Okay. Now I will remove this value, I don't need it. And now I have a location. Okay, let's say Pune, Mumbai, Kolkata, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and obviously Chennai. So I have two array 1 and array 2. What do you guys think is common in between these two arrays?
ID.
ID.
ID. What is my expectation is for Raj? What could be the location?
Bangalore.
Bangalore.
Bangalore. So I'll take this, put it here. For Mohan, what could be the location?
Chennai.
Chennai. I'll take this, I'll put it here. Now I have this one, ID 5. For ID 5, we have location Kolkata. And I'll take this one, ID 4. I have location Hyderabad. And then we have this thing. And for this one, I have location Mumbai. Okay. Now this is my expected output. This is a question. We have array 1 and array 2. You need to create a third array with all these details. ID, name, department, and location in one set. So likewise, you have to form this set. This is my question. And this was again interview question for a very good company. So please, anyone would like to try now, or you want to take it as a test? But I will say you can get it answered easily on the internet, but put your effort to understand how do you do this. Hence, you will need index function, you will need for each, you will need where contains, you will need two integer. All these things you will require.
Join array.
I mean, just try out.
Yeah.
Right? Just let me copy this code and put it in the chat so you guys can copy it. Can you guys see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is again an interview question was asked, and it's being asked. So these are the type of questions they ask in interview because they know you can answer what's a record, what's a report, what is CDT, what is process model. You can definitely answer that. But nowadays they are asking you to do this hands-on. Okay. Trying now, or you want to take it at home as a task?
We'll take as a task.
Okay, great. All right. Now we have seen local variables, we have seen function variables. Now let me show you one more type of variable, which is, I would say, it's not actually a variable, but it behaves like a variable and also as like a bridge to pass the information from one place to other place, and also to make the rules dynamic. Okay, and that we call is rule input. When Rahul was sharing his screen, he used the rule input, right? So we'll see the concept of rule input, what it is actually. All right. Let me open this index function example. So here in this one, we were passing this Rohan as a hard-coded value, right? So let's say if I go and save this rule, what it is going to do, this rule. If I use this rule, let's say if I'm going to call this rule from anywhere else, what this rule is going to return?
Age of a person,
Age
employee,
of,
employee.
no, any employee,
In
Which
age of, yeah, go ahead.
which one? Like
I mean,
17?
if I call this rule from somewhere else, right? This, we created a rule, right? I mean, every expression rule in Appian can be treated as a function. So if you want something returned, it will return to you. So if I call this rule from anywhere else, what this rule is going to return to me?
Age, local bank of birth. Age of employee.
Age of employee, any employee or particular employee?
I think
Uh,
it's all the employees.
no.
No,
Currently, we are like
particular
using Rohan.
employee where it is matching with the name of that
Rohan.
employee.
Rohan, right? So
Rohan.
always, every time, this rule, whenever you execute this rule, it is always going to give you 31 because Rohan is hard coded here. So it's always going to give you the age of Rohan, right? So is it like we will have to create all number of n number of rules for each employees? Not a good idea, right? Because there could be thousands of employees. We can't just create thousands of rules, right? So how do we make this rule dynamic so that it can understand, give me the name and I will give you the age of it.
So can you say that? Sorry.
Sorry?
We can use for each grouping.
No. So I don't want the age of everyone, right? I just need the age. I want the age of Sohan. I don't need the age of everyone. Now the rule input comes into the picture. You can see there's a one more icon on your right hand side window, small icon. Just click on that. It will ask you to create a rule input. Click on the plus icon and I'll say, let's say input name. And then here you will have to define the type of your variable that you are creating. So rule input is a kind of a variable that we are creating. The name I have given is called input name and the type I'm going to take it as a text. Now you see a window has created here. I am going to pass Shohan here. So it means I want the age of a Shohan, but still the code has hard coded value as Rohan. So how do I let the code know that what input I want to take and then get the output? So we will have to remove this hard code value from here and we will have to refer this variable that we created, and to refer this variable we have a prefix called ri, that is called rule input bang. And once you type bang, it will start giving you a suggestion. You can have multiple. It will start giving a suggestion. Now this will becomes dynamic. If I pass Sohan to it, I will get the age of Sohan. If I pass Gagan to it, I will get the age of Gagan, right? If I pass XYZ something random number, I won't get any age. Right? Is that clear? What is the rule input?
Yeah, like we are in the runtime, we are asking.
In the runtime, we are asking, I
Yeah.
want the value for a particular variable, what a particular name. Now that's a rule input. Okay. So whenever we declare a function, let's say for example, we saw got the for each, right? We see this for each. Now in the for each, it tell me that I have two things to be passed, items and expression. So whenever we use call this rule anywhere, that calling will tell you that, you know what, you want to call this rule, okay, fine, but it has one input to be passed, that is input name. It means we need to pass the name of the person you want to get the age. Is that clear? Concept of rule input? It is
Also,
also
whenever we pass this function, we need to pass input name as a parameter, right?
right. ideally you should use the parameter name. That is a good thing to do. Now let me show you an example. And how do we call a rule within a rule? So let's say I'm going to create an expression rule. I'll say get age. Okay. This rule will return, this rule will get the age by name, right? I'll create it. Now let's say I want to change this rule name. How do I do that? I go to the properties, and I say find age. Okay, this is the name of this rule. I change it. Okay. um, I just change the name of so that it will be relative. Okay, so now I change this rule name, that whatever I will pass to this, I'll get the name, I will get the age. So here, to call a rule that is being developed by you or any other developer, or maybe it's like we can say that any user created rules, we need to use a prefix called rule bank and the name of the rule. This is the rule name I given. So now I see that inside the parenthesis, if you click, it says, you know what, I have one input name parameter, the text type. So let's pass this, and I'll pass Mohan to it. If I click on test rule, I'll get the age. So this age is getting calculated inside this rule, but we are getting the value in my this rule because here we are calling that one and we are passing the according values. So how this become possible? Because we were using rule input. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Any doubts? Anyone? Great. So these are the important things in development, right? People get hurry about, no, I don't want to need the process model and everything, but here you will get caught and you will get stuck while working. So you need to clear your concept of this one. Cool. Okay. So now this all is about the expression rules. Now let me show you one example of interface, how to use this local variables. Now before that, I am going to create an expression rule as a name as, okay, um, dummy calculator. This rule will do calculation. Now let's say I want this rule to be work as a dynamic, so that whatever number I will pass to it, let's say if I say 5 plus 5, right? Then it's always going to give me the 10, right? But I want this rule to be dynamic, that whatever number I will pass to this, it should give me the addition of that. How do you create that? And how do we make this as a dynamic?
A rule input.
Okay, so how many rule inputs we need?
Two.
2. So I go and click on the plus icon. I'll say, let's say num1, the type of integer, and I say num2, which is again going to be type of integer. Okay. Now here what I need to do?
Rule bank num.
1 plus number.
Rule bank
R bank, sorry.
RI, rule input, RI bank
R bank.
num1 plus
Plus
RI bank num2. So now if I go and pass any number to this, it's going to give me the result. Right? Okay, good. So now we have created this calculator rule, which is going to do the addition. I am going to create an interface for you. Sample calculator. Right. So I create a new interface. I say create. Okay, in my interface, let's say I want to have something, some design to be done. Let's say I'm gonna use a form layout. I drag and drop it here. Okay, and then I need this to be divided into multiple columns. I will drag these columns and put it here. So by default, it gives you 3 columns. Let's say in the first column, I want to have an integer field. I'll put it here. Second column, and then I let me configure here. So it says, I'll say input number 1. Same way, I need to drag this integer field and put it here. I give the name as input number 2. Now in the number 1 and number 2, we need to configure the variables. We can do all those configuration directly from here. We can also create a variable, local variables directly from here. But you will not know what's going on behind the code. So if you want to see that, just click on this expression mode. Now, once you click on this expression mode, then you will see the code designed behind the scene for all this UI that you have done so far. So first of all, we drag a form layout. You see, a topmost is a form layout. Inside this form layouts, we use a columns layout to divide my column. Now it has 3 columns: 1 column, 2 column, 3 column. The first column I use one integer field. Second column I use another integer field, and third column I haven't used anything, so it's blank for now. Now I need a variables to be captured here, because if I go and put some number here, I can't see what's the number, and I because I have not saved it anywhere. So we need to save the values that user is going to input. So how are we going to do that? What we can do is we can declare a local variable function at the top, and let's say I'm going to local bank num1, local bank num2. So 2 variables I declared. Now you guys tell me, if I want to use these local variables inside this form layout, what I will have to do?
Form layout should be placed inside local variable.
Right. So I need to make this form layout to be in scope of local
Look,
variables. I need to put it here then. Now once I do that, now this local variables will be available to this function. Now where I want to see input number 1, I want to save where? I'll just say local bank num1. Save this in the local bank num1. Now let's say what happens. If I go, you can drag this window to see the values here, right? Let's say I'm going to put 8 here. Click outside. It got 8, but it's gone from here. And so if you want to display as well whatever you have inputted, you need to use one more parameter called value. And what's the value? Local bank num1. Now once we do that, it will start displaying the value that we have captured. So this is the integer field that we have used. Same way we can configure this integer field. So save into where I want to save it. I want to save into local bank num2, and value parameter local bank num2. Is it like, do you want to, I mean, all these functions, is it like I'm not using validations? Do I need to have it? No, you can go and remove it. That's totally fine. You don't need to have it unnecessarily. So now I see that I am able to capture local number 1, input number 1, input number 2. And we are able to save it to my local variables. Now my local variables are having some value within it. Even though I have not initialized it, but I'm able to using from the fields, I'm able to use to save it. Okay. Now let's say on my third column, I want to have a button. So I'm going to use a bank button layout, and let's say primary button. I'm going to use a bank button widget. Label, I would say add. So you can see here in the design, a button has been created, add. Now, let's say I'm going to have one more variable here, local bank result. So what I did, I declared one more variable, local bank result. So what happened when I click on add, it should take the input from 8 and 9 in input 1 and input 2 and do the addition and show me the result. Okay, so whenever user go and click on the add button, I need to capture the value of addition. So we will need to use a save into. Now inside a save into, I need the result. I can directly do it, right? I can do it from local num1 plus local num2 and save it. But remember, we have created a calculator rule. I need to use that. So to save a value of, if you do some calculation, we need to use a bank save function. A bank save functions require two parameters, target and value, where you want to save the things and what you want to save. So I want to save in my local bank result. And what I want to save? I want to save the output of the rule that we are going to create here. So it's W5022 underscore dummy calculator. This was the rule name. And what it need two things, num1 and num2. I'm going to pass num1. What do I map it here?
Local bank number.
Local bank num1, right? And for num2, local bank num2, right? Now, if I go and click on this add button, right, you see this, there's a result. This is null for now. If I go and click on add, I got the value 17. So I am capturing the input from the user and passing to the rule and getting the output from here. If you want to showcase as well, we can have it. Let's say I want to put it here. A bank rich text display field and value. I'm going to have a bank rich text item and text I want to display as addition of above number is ampersand local bank result. Right? So you can take the input, save it to your local variable, and then you can pass your some rule where it is behaving as a rule input. And based on the rule input, you did the mapping and you got the result. Is that clear? Is that clear concept of rule input?
Yes.
And how do we reuse the rules?
Yeah. So Ravi, how like you have written this button layout, and so how do you know, how do we know that we have to write here that button layout and all those things?
That will come with practice, Sachin, you know.
Yeah.
That will come definitely with practice. I mean, it's not any rule that you will remember. Based on the thinking process, how you want to design your interface, you need to think in that way.
So
Okay.
if you go to the 40 line, you have written this button layout after this uh, column. In the column layout, we have to write this, right? Oh.
See that is totally like you could have written this button anywhere. It's not a predefined, I mean, any rule that you have to write it here itself.
Mhm.
You can have it below, you can have it somewhere else. You don't have to use form layout, anything. I'm just saying that this is how you need to think, how you want to design your interface. In your mind, first you have to draw a picture. This is how I want to do it. I could have placed this button anywhere. Let's say I'll take it out from here. I'm going to take this button layout out from here, Control X, and let's say I'm going to put it here. After the columns layout, the parent column, let's say I'm going to put it here. So now the button will be here. No? If I want to make this as a on my left hand side, I just need to change this as a secondary button.
Yeah, this whole thing, because you are like you have lot of experience. You have
That's what
just
I'm saying. No, that it
yes.
comes with your experience. When you start designing it, then you will have to understand how to work on this, right? So think about in a that way. First, you try to design a picture in your mind, and then you do all those things, right? Where you want to place the things, and then we will see how right now what I did, I just start creating from a design mode, how where the interface will look like. So first, you create a new interface, go to your design mode, drag and drop the things, try to put it in the place where you want to have it, and then we'll do the configuration. Right. So on your left hand side, you can see all those objects that you want to put. So start designing one interface in your mind, and then start putting it here.
So Ravi, here for add button, you write a code, right, in expression. So instead of
Mm-hmm.
that, can we drag and drop the button in the third place?
Yeah, you can drag and drop it. Huh?
So it will automatically create that code, right?
Right.
Okay.
So we haven't created code for integer field, right? We drag and drop, and it did it. Right. So you
Yeah,
can have that
same
one.
way
Yeah.
for add also we
Right.
can.
Right. 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 Yeah. That's what I told. No? First, you think about a picture in your mind, how your UI will look like, and then you start designing it. All right. Any questions so far, guys?
No.
We'll practice and we'll ask more questions.
Yeah, for sure. But the task that I gave, try to complete that without help of internet, and share with me tomorrow. Okay. So we have a Holi festival coming up, guys. I will be on leave on 17th of March. That is a Monday. So let me know if you guys are okay. We can have a class on 15th of March. That is Saturday. Think about it and let me know.
Sure.
Okay.
Any other question before we wrap up? No? All right then. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.